There's a reason NBA legends respect Larry Bird. Michael Jordan learned that lesson personally. Trust me, this wasn't just trash talk. This was a moment when MJ thought he had the upper hand until Larry Bird reminded him who he was really dealing with. It's your boy Hardwood Skip, and I'll be reacting to when Michael Jordan bullied Larry Bird and he instantly regretted it. So lock in with me and tell me what you think.
You are currently looking at a 21-year-old Michael Jordan, a kid who is fresh off his junior season at North Carolina and has yet to play in a single NBA game. You are also currently looking at a 27-year-old Larry Bird, who is in his prime. Looking at this matchup on paper, this should have...
Don't forget, Larry Bird at 27 was in his prime and he suffered lots of injuries. Bro, imagine going through all that and still being a GOAT of the time of the whole NBA. Till date, bro, that's a legend.
Been no contest. Jordan was the leader of the 1984 Olympic team, a team made up of college kids, while Bird, he was leading a team full of NBA All-Stars who were supposed to toughen up the college kids before the Olympics and show them what life in the NBA was like. Only that's not what happened. Instead, Michael would go on to embarrass Larry and in turn created a rivalry that Michael himself would regret because sure, Mike put up individual numbers against Bird and the Celtics that were absurd, but as you are about to see, during his time in the NBA, Michael Jordan eventually got the best of basically every star he ever faced off against except for one, and that man
this is crazy.
Larry Bird. Now, you guys may remember this sequence from The Last Dance, and I'm going to explain to you why it's so meaningful.
Enjoy yourself, dog. You y'all gave us the run for our money. Yeah. Thank you. Work on that golf game.
Now, for real,
As
this
you
suit,
just saw,
that
Michael
suit is too
cursed
big.
out a then head coach of the Indiana Pacers version of Larry Bird after the 1998 Eastern Conference Finals, where the Pacers took the Bulls to 7 games. Now, Michael said these curses with a smile, but
Nah,
no
Michael looks
joking
so
when it came to
athletic here, bro. And I think this was when he was so young, bro. Imagine leading college kids back then. That was a big flex. I bet you that was a big flex, bro. Bro, it's imagine Larry Bird, the one he later turned to be his up. Imagine getting prepped by Larry Bird to face life in the NBA, and you want to come into the NBA to bully him, bro. Imagine a student bullying his master. That's intense.
Michael Jordan in basketball. Mike was this hyped to beat Larry because after taking him down in that Olympic exhibition game, in all reality, Jordan would never really get the best of Larry again, and instead, it was Larry Bird who would get his revenge. So what's up guys, Mike here, and today we are taking a deep dive on the story between Michael Jordan and Larry Bird. An underrated rivalry that again could possibly be the only rivalry that Michael Jordan was ever bested. Now, let's talk about this video. Let's set the stage with the 1984 Olympic team and the NBA All-Stars. Because you see, in order to get his team ready for the 1984 Olympics, Bob Knight scheduled 8 exhibitions with current NBA players, including several current All-Stars and future Hall of Famers. Now remember, at this point in time, only college kids could play in the Olympics. However, it was expected that these college kids would lose to the NBA All-Stars, right? Well, we'll get into that, but this also led to the first documented Michael Jordan versus Larry Bird.
This is crazy. I want to ask a question. Why were college kids the only ones that were allowed to play in the Olympics? I thought the Olympics were mostly played by adults. Why was it college kids? And then led by Michael Jordan. Bro, that was crazy, man. How old was Michael back then?
Matchup on July 9th, 1984. In this game, the NBA All-Star starting lineup featured future 3-time NBA champion John Paxson,
they played against NBA All-Stars,
and 3 Hall of Famers in Robert Parrish, Isaiah Thomas, and of course, Larry Bird. Meanwhile, the Olympic team had 3 future Hall of Famers in Michael Jordan, Chris Mullin, and Patrick Ewing, but these were just college kids and they had no business really competing with NBA All-Stars. The Olympic team actually went 8-0 against 8 separate teams of NBA stars. As we all know, Michael Jordan was not the number 1 or number 2 pick in the 1984 draft, but playing for Bob Knight, Jordan established himself as a dominant force, and it was clear this guy was going to make a huge impact in the league right away.
Bro, Jordan made it clear that he came with all the smoke, bro. I bet this was intense. I mean, look at this, bro. He wasn't the first draft then, but he just made it clear and he made a stand. Bet he knew he must have heard about Larry Bird and he really wanted to put up the competition because that's what I would do too. But you know what I'm saying? We all really want to see that stronghold in every situation. We all want to get faced by that. And Michael was the one. I think he had his fair share of cake because he first bullied Larry. I bet during this game, and Larry would later come to have his revenge.
Way, and he did, as Mike would average over 28 points per game as a rookie. Now, because of this, Larry Bird saw Jordan as a threat. He saw him as a young kid who was going to try to come in and take over the league that Bird was currently dominating. Remember, Larry was the MVP in 1984, and he would actually win MVP in 1985 and 1986 as well. This meant that Larry was at his apex, and he wanted Michael Jordan to know this was his league, which meant, according to Sports Illustrated, during the pregame warm-ups in Indy, Jordan had chased a ball to the NBA end, whereupon Bird controlled it. Did Bird hand it to Jordan? He did not.
Bro, if you would ask me, Bird had a hand in this. Jordan was rudely treated by his future peers during the pregame warm-ups in Indy. Jordan had chased the ball to the NBA end, whereupon Bird controlled it, but did Bird hand it to Jordan? He did not. Without a smile, Bird kicked the ball over Jordan's head, back to the Olympian's end. Jordan didn't seem surprised. He just shook his head. Bro, like, why did Larry feel threatened by Jordan's presence, bro? I bet Jordan was playing better than his age, man. He was well advanced. Jordan was ready. And I remember Jordan wasn't the height of Jordan didn't meet NBA's draft requirements. I think his younger brother or his elder brother was taller than him or so. Jordan himself said it, that his brother played better than him. I don't know if you know the story, but Jordan took to practicing and training and he gained 2 more inches. And so that's why he qualified for the NBA. And he came in to take down any big legend as a then. But Larry saw that as a threat. I really want to know why Larry saw that as a threat.
Without a smile, Bird kicked the ball over Jordan's head back to the Olympian's end. Jordan didn't seem surprised, he just shook his head. 4 nights later, when Jordan crashed to the floor in Milwaukee and Johnson paused to help him up, the NBA coach waved Johnson off. Get away from him. He's been over our backs all night, shouted none other than
crazy.
Oscar Robertson. Looking at Larry Bird,
why did they do him like that?
Here, you heard that right. When a ball bounced to the NBA All-Star side and Michael Jordan went to retrieve it, Larry Bird did not give it to him. Instead, he kicked it over Michael Jordan's head. With this, Larry was telling Mike, I don't care who you are, you're going to have to earn respect in the NBA, and it's going to be tough. The thing is though, this move would look kind of silly because on this night, Michael Jordan would embarrass the NBA All-Stars, including Larry Bird. Mike would help lead the Olympic team to a win as he showcased his jaw-dropping athleticism and his ability to already seemingly score at will. And of course, it wouldn't be a Michael Jordan game if there was not a huge highlight, which came in the form of this absolutely monster dunk over Robert Reed. Now, as for what Mike thought about Larry's actions during warm-ups, he would later say, quote, Bird was showing me it was all business now and I was beneath him. I didn't forget, which means, I guess you could say, Michael Jordan took this personal. But the thing is, Larry Bird took this personal too. Remember, Larry was in his absolute prime at this point, but so were several Hall of Fame guards and forwards, and as I'm about to show you, Michael would eventually get the best of all of these players, because when Michael entered the NBA, 4 guards/forwards would make the first team All-NBA in Michael's first 2 seasons. These men were Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Isaiah Thomas, and Dominique Wilkins. Now, as you can see against Dominique, for his career, Michael beat him in everything. Wins, rebounds, assists.
Now, this is crazy. Imagine the people Michael Jordan came to meet, and he went on to embarrass the NBA All-Star team. I mean, that's crazy, bro. A college kid. Bro! This is crazy. Just take, for example, Austin Reeves, the rookie. When he came in a year ago, it was all smoke, including Wemby. When Wemby came in, it was all smoke. They came in with all the smoke, man. Embarrassing legends. Even LeBron had his fair share of cake too from all the rookies. Bro, it was crazy. It was crazy. I mean, compared to what happened back then, the NBA back then, bro, Michael Jordan did prove himself. And you know, Larry is always giving a welcome to any rookie. And he needed him to earn his respect. Respect isn't given freely like that. When it comes to Larry, you have to earn respect. And by earning your respect, it means proving yourself. You have to be tough against all odds, man. That's what the shit means.
Steals, blocks, points, you name it. Michael had Dominique's number in the regular season, and in the playoffs, the two matched up once and Mike's Bulls swept Dominique. Moving on to Magic Johnson. Michael barely snuck out a win difference in the regular season, and I would say certainly he had better overall numbers, but what was most important was in their one meeting in the NBA Finals, Jordan dominated and the Bulls won Mike's first championship in 5 games. So again, advantage Mike. This brings us to Isaiah Thomas, the one other name on this list that actually has an argument for besting Mike. Now, in the regular season, Isaiah did win more games, but again, I'd say Mike had better numbers, and then in the playoffs, Mike's numbers were clearly better, but Isaiah does have the win differential here. The thing is, though, Mike would get his revenge against Isaiah. He would, of course, knock out the Pistons in the
Damn, are you telling me a kid was doing this?
losing to them, a revenge that was so sweet that the Pistons refused to shake hands with the Bulls after they were swept. This revenge makes all the difference, because in Michael's matchups against Larry Bird, when looking at them head to head, we can see that in the regular season, Larry bested Mike in the wins column and put up similar numbers other than score. Then in the playoffs, bam, Bird's Celtics took down Jordan's Bulls all 6 times they played, and even though Mike had some absurd games, including of course his 63-point outburst against the 1986 Celtics where Larry would...
Now this is crazy though. How the fuck is Michael having such amazing stats at these, bro? It's almost similar to the other players, but I know the only difference is Larry Bird. I mean, it's not really far, but compared to what I'm seeing here, Larry Bird's wins to Michael Jordan's losses, I know Larry Bird is way ahead. He was way ahead. But the other people, the other legends, man, they actually saw hell from Michael Jordan. And that's really tough, bro, because tell me how that kid will come in with such confidence. The Larry confidence. And he come to outshine everybody. Bro, that's crazy. I wonder who was I wonder who was Michael Jordan's personal coach, because that person deserved all his flowers. And Michael himself trained beyond his capacity. That's why he could get such an amazing stats as this.
Call Michael Jordan God disguised as Michael Jordan. Larry and his team always got the best of Michael, and that never changed. Jordan would never get revenge over Larry Bird, which is of course not only extremely rare, but makes Larry one of a kind. And the thing is, Mike acknowledged this. When Larry eventually retired, Michael would make this statement: Larry, I hear that you're retiring. Thank goodness, I'm glad. I'm tired of seeing your face. You brought a lot of sad memories for me. I enjoyed it, and I wish you a lot of luck, and I think you had a great and wonderful career. You ruined a lot of my successful games against the Boston Celtics.
Imagine what Jordan can say when Larry retired. Bro, this is like thanking God for removing your enemy, your path, removing an obstacle from your path. What Jordan is saying here, that Larry was Jordan's biggest limitation and obstacle. Bro, it was crazy. It was really intense to that point. This is a whole speech, bro. This is crazy, because tell me why. Marco will write the whole speech expressing how happy he was. Larry was retiring. It was crazy, man. I can actually imagine the tears of joy in Michael Jordan's face right now. Damn.
Some great words and some telling words, because we can see here Larry Bird was really the one guy that Michael Jordan never got. And sure, Larry Bird's Celtics were better than Michael Jordan's Bulls early on, but that was the case of a lot of teams when Michael Jordan entered the NBA. The thing is, Mike got revenge on every single one of those teams except for the Celtics and Bird. This already is huge, and I think because of this, Mike not only had the ultimate respect for Larry, but he also openly admitted that he learned a lot from him, especially in the matter of getting into his opponent's heads. Mike has stated, Larry Bird is the greatest trash talker and mind game player of all time. He taught me everything I know about getting in folks' heads. This was certainly true. During his time in the NBA, Mike watched as Larry did the following things, and this is just naming a few Larry Bird trash talking stories, as there are a ton, but number one, in Mike's...
Damn. So Michael learned how to get into people's head from Larry Bird. Bro, this is crazy. No wonder his gameplays were too tough, man. Damn, so he learned this from Larry. I mean, come on now. Larry was the greatest trash talker. And by doing that, he could destabilize you. He gets in your soul, bro. Whatever he intended to do or say to you, he gonna say it, and you gonna lose it, bro. You wouldn't know what to do anymore. You will be so discouraged. Man, so this is who Michael learned it from. And this is actually amazing. We're getting to the best part.
Here, Larry was playing the Atlanta Hawks and dropped 60 points, an amazing feat that was even more incredible because according to Doc Rivers, quote, the last shot he said in the trainer's lap coming down the court, which meant it was going to be a 3 and it was going to be from deep. And then he said, who wants it? Then I think Reggie Brown, I'm not sure who it was, ran out after him. He shot this high rainbow, it goes in, Reggie bumps into him and accidentally knocks him on our trainer's lap. Yes, Larry Bird actually landed in the trainer's lap, scored 60 points on the Atlanta Hawks, and the Atlanta Hawks bench celebrated. Absolutely.
That's crazy. Larry scored and his ops, they celebrated for him, bro. That's crazy. Why would the Atlanta Hawks be celebrating for the Boston Celtics? Because Larry made a shot, and this was his 60-point game. You can check out the game in my channel. I did react to it 2 days ago.
Amazing. Story number 2, of course, Larry went into the locker room before the 1988 3-point contest, asked everyone competing who is coming in second, then proceeded to keep his warm-up jacket on and win the contest on this final shot.
This is a tie for the money.
Yeah, I remember. I did this.
Then, of course, we have number 3, an absolute classic, as on Christmas Day in 1990, Larry went up to Indiana Pacer Chuck Person before the game and said, hey Chuck, I have a Christmas present for you. Then, during that game, he pulled a 3 in Chuck's face and said, Merry Christmas, as he drained it. These are just 3 of the legendary trash talking stories that Larry Bird racked up during his NBA career, and I wanted to highlight them because Michael saw what Larry was doing. Michael saw how effective this trash talking was and began to do the same. He saw that Larry played mind games with his opponents and that this paid off big time, and so Michael developed his own style of getting into his opponents' heads and even went as far as befriending Charles Barkley during the 1993 NBA Finals, taking him golfing before Game 4 of those finals and giving him a $20,000 earring so that Chuck would lose his competitive edge. That's right, when asked why he did this, Mike supposedly said, he won't get in my way the rest of the series. What's $20,000 to me? Charles thinks we're great friends. I hate that fat
Jesus. How did Michael think of this, bro? This is like breaking Charles down with money. And Charles didn't even realize it, man. He gifted him a 20,000 diamond earring. And Charles be thinking, oh, Michael's my friend. And he said he hated that fat fuck, bro. Yeah, this is crazy, bro. I'm not sure Larry did this, but Michael went extra mile into your head. Man, but this is actually amazing, though. Applaud to say for Michael Jordan.
An absolutely incredible story, and again, Michael himself said that he learned from Larry. He learned how to get into his opponent's heads, and this paid off big time as his career progressed. Which brings us to my final thoughts. What should we take away from this video? Well, to me, I think it's remarkable that the one guy that Michael Jordan could never best was Larry Bird, and maybe, of course, if Larry Bird's back did not give out, Michael would have gotten his chance to take down Bird because his career would have been longer. But it can also be said that if Larry's back held up, he would have been better, he would have stayed in his MVP form, and it could have been the Celtics who were beating the Bulls in the playoffs in the late 1980s, so
this is
Larry
true.
could have even gained a larger advantage on Jordan. We'll never know for sure there. What we do know is that in an extremely rare occurrence, it was an opponent who took things personal against Michael Jordan and actually got the better of him. Yes, Larry Bird took the loss in that 1984 exhibition game, but then after that, he did not do a whole lot more losing, especially in the playoffs. 6-0 for Larry Larry Bird and the Celtics, that is something that Larry Bird will take to his grave and is the reason why Michael was so hyped to beat Larry Bird when Larry was a coach. Finishing up here though, I do also think it's awesome that Mike really held no hard feelings against Larry. Sure, he is a competitive psychopath and always wanted to beat Larry, but he has openly praised Larry Bird. He has openly said that he has learned from Larry Bird, and he has said that he used this knowledge to help himself become the greatest basketball player of all time. With that said,
So you see, it's actually true. Marco actually acknowledged Larry Bird all times, all chances given. And we see what Marco learned from Larry Bird. He learns a whole lot. And if you would ask me, I would say Larry Bird, if he didn't have issues with his back and if he didn't suffer the whole lot of injuries he did suffer at that time, Larry would have been better and he would have dealt with Michael Jordan profusely. If you ask me my own opinion, I don't know what your opinion is, but this is the truth. If Larry didn't suffer those injuries, Larry, I'm not sure Michael would have seen the light of the day compared to Larry's light, man, because it was actually a competitive moment. And just when Michael was getting into the game, into the NBA, into the league, that's when Larry Bird was going to be retired. So comment below what you think and what is your favorite take, and let me know what I should be reacting to next. Love you, all hardwoods. Hit like and subscribe.
guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Thank you